While you're spending hundreds on fancy fertilizers, Amish families are feeding their entire communities using horse poop, and their soil gets better every year. Stick around because I'm about to reveal the shocking science-backed secrets behind their insanely productive gardens. Secrets that could change the way you grow food forever. Hey everyone, I dove deep into Amish farming practices, and honestly, what I found blew my mind. Their gardens don't just survive, they thrive, year after year, without chemicals, without machines, and barely any money. In this video, I'm going to show you the 10 powerful techniques that make Amish gardens some of the most productive on Earth, from moon phase planting to seed-saving secrets most people have never heard of. So, if you're tired of struggling with your garden, this could be the game changer you've been waiting for. Drop a comment below. Have you ever tried any of these old-school techniques? One fertilizer that costs almost nothing. You spend hundreds on fancy fertilizers every year, and your garden still looks like it's struggling. Meanwhile, Amish families are growing massive gardens that feed entire communities, using something most people throw away. Yep, you guessed it. Horse poop. Fresh horse manure is loaded with nitrogen, about 50% more than the expensive bags at the garden store. And no, that's not some made-up marketing line. It's straight-up science. While you're trying to pronounce chemical names that sound like they belong in a lab, Amish farmers are spreading natural fertilizer that actually builds their soil instead of stripping it down. Here's where it gets even better. One horse produces about 35 to 50 pounds of this garden gold every single day. That's roughly 18 tons per year. Compare that to the average gardener who spends $300 to $500 annually on synthetic stuff, and suddenly keeping a horse doesn't seem so crazy. But here's the real kicker. Chemical fertilizers are like fast food for plants. They give a quick boost, then leave the soil starving. Horse manure? It feeds the plant and the soil. It creates tiny air pockets that help roots breathe and water flow. Plus, it brings in the good bacteria, the ones that break down organic matter and turn it into nutrients plants can actually use. These microbes love horse manure way more than synthetic junk. They treat it like an all-you-can-eat buffet, while chemical fertilizers just offer a few rushed meals. And unlike store-bought options, horse manure comes with its own built-in bodyguards, beneficial bacteria that protect plants from disease. The Amish figured this out generations ago. Their soil doesn't get worse over time, it gets better. Some family gardens have been thriving for over a century using nothing but what their horses provide. 2. Crop rotation. Like nature intended. Most of us plant the same veggies in the same spots every year and then wonder why our gardens don't do as well each season. But the Amish, they've cracked a code that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries. It's called crop rotation, and it's basically nature's way of keeping things balanced. The Amish follow a simple 4-year cycle: corn, beans, squash, rest. Sounds basic, right? But here's the thing. Each crop sets the stage perfectly for the next one, like passing the baton in a relay race. Corn is first. It's a heavy feeder, pulling a ton of nitrogen from the soil. After harvest, the ground looks pretty much used up. That's where most gardeners panic. But not the Amish. They know what comes next is pure genius. Beans take over the second year. These little guys are part of a special plant club called legumes, which can actually make nitrogen instead of just using it up. Tiny bacteria living on their roots grab nitrogen from the air and store it in the soil. When the bean plants die off, all that nitrogen gets released back in, setting the stage for the third act. Enter squash. Those big, aggressive vines shade out weeds like they own the place. Their deep roots break up compacted soil and bring nutrients up from below, spreading them around like confetti. By now, the soil structure has gotten a serious upgrade. Year 4? Rest time. No crops, but definitely not lazy time. Instead of leaving the land bare, they plant cover crops like clover or rye. These plants add organic matter, prevent erosion, and give helpful bugs a place to hang out. This system doesn't just keep the soil healthy, it stops diseases dead in their tracks. Plant diseases are like bullies. They pick on the same victims over and over, but if their favourite host plants disappear for 3 years, those diseases have nothing to attack. Eventually, they just fade away. And the best part? This natural rhythm keeps gardens productive for decades. Some Amish families have been growing food on the same plots for over 50 years without losing an ounce of fertility. 3. Moon phase planting. Superstition or science? You've probably heard of people planting by the moon and thought, that's just old-timey nonsense. But what if I told you there's real science behind it, and that Amish farmers have been using it for over 300 years? It all starts with timing. Root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, and beets get planted during the new moon when the moon is dark. That's because the gravitational pull during this phase pushes moisture deeper into the soil. Plants respond by growing their roots down, chasing the water. And guess what? Studies show these gardens produce 15 to 20% more than those planted at random times. Sounds a little too sci-fi? Think about how the moon controls ocean tides. Same force affects the water in our soil. During the new moon, moisture moves deep underground. When seeds sense that, they naturally send roots further down, building stronger, drought-resistant plants. It's like giving your veggies a built-in survival kit. Now, let's talk leafy greens. Spinach, lettuce, and herbs go in when the moon is waxing. That's the phase where it's getting bigger every night. These crops sprout faster when planted now, sometimes up to 25% quicker. Why? The increasing light seems to wake them up, kind of like how longer days tell plants spring is here. Even harvest time follows the moon. Root veggies pulled during the waning moon last longer in storage. Why? Lower soil moisture makes them denser and less likely to rot. Leafy greens harvested under a full moon are juicier and crispier. Perfect for fresh salads, but best eaten fast. Most people think this is just folklore. But modern studies are starting to back it up. Soil moisture actually shifts by up to 8% between new and full moons, creating different growing conditions every few weeks. The Amish don't need lab reports to prove it works. Their results speak for themselves. Year after year of thriving gardens without chemicals or machines. They trust nature's rhythm, and it pays off big time. So is it superstition? Or is it smart farming guided by centuries of observation and lunar cycles we're only beginning to understand? 4. Composting done right. Most people think composting is just throwing banana peels and leaves into a pile and waiting a few months. But let's be real. That pile usually ends up stinky, slimy, or just not helpful. The Amish, they've turned composting into an art. And it's not even hard once you know how they do it. Their secret isn't magic, it's heat. Real heat. Not the warm to the touch kind. We're talking 140 to 160 degrees hot. That kind of heat doesn't just break down scraps. It kills weed seeds, bad bacteria, and plant diseases. Most backyard piles never get past 100 degrees, which means they're basically inviting trouble in for a nap. So how do they make this supercharged compost? It all starts with balance. 30 parts brown stuff, like dried leaves, straw, or shredded paper, to 1 part green stuff, like kitchen scraps, grass clippings, or yes, horse manure. Get that ratio right and your pile kicks off a natural heating process that speeds everything up. Too many browns and nothing happens. Too many greens and it smells like something died. But when it's perfect, that pile becomes a microbial party zone. Tiny bugs go nuts, prompt breaking everything down, creating heat as they work. And that heat makes all the difference. Amish composters don't just build a pile and walk away. Nope. They turn it every week. Why? Because oxygen keeps those microbes happy. Without air, the pile goes anaerobic, slows way down, and starts smelling like a science experiment gone wrong. The result? Black gold in just 3 to 4 months. No chemicals, no machines, just nature working at full speed. 1 cubic yard of this rich compost holds the same nutrients as $200 worth of store-bought soil boosters. And it costs absolutely nothing. And here's the bonus. Pests stay far away from these clean, hot piles. No rotting smell, no flies, just fresh, dark, crumbly soil food that turns waste into wealth. All because the Amish figured out what most of us forget. Composting done right isn't messy. It's pure garden power. 5. Seed saving. The original heirloom tech. Most gardeners rush to the store every spring, picking out shiny new seed packets labelled with promises of perfect tomatoes and disease-free lettuce. But Amish families? They reach into old jars filled with seeds passed down for generations. Seeds that have been quietly adapting to their land, weather and soil for over 100 years. These aren't just any seeds. They're survivors. Every single one has been tested by time. Plants that couldn't handle drought died off long ago. Those that struggled with pests never made it to the next season. What's left are only the strongest, smartest varieties, plants that know exactly what they need to thrive in that specific patch of earth. Commercial hybrid seeds might look good on paper, but they're like tourists in your garden. They don't really belong. They're bred for uniformity, not resilience, and they rarely pass on their best traits to the next generation. That means you can't save them. You've got to buy new ones every year. For many families, that adds up to $150 to $300 in annual seed costs. Amish gardeners skip that expense completely. One tomato plant can produce hundreds of seeds, more than enough to last years. These saved seeds germinate faster, grow stronger roots, and produce vegetables that last longer in storage. Why? Because they carry genetic memory, a built-in GPS that tells them exactly how to handle whatever nature throws at them. It's not just about saving money or growing better food. It's about preserving history. Some of these seed varieties haven't been sold in stores for decades, yet they still grow strong because someone cared enough to keep planting them, season after season. Each seed is a link to the past, a quiet rebellion against the idea that everything needs to be brand new to be valuable. Seed saving also builds community. When one family finds a plant that thrives under tough conditions, they share the seeds. Over time, those seeds spread across neighbourhoods, creating gardens full of locally adapted, super resilient plants. It's farming with memory and heart. 6. Watering smart, not hard. Most gardeners water their plants every single day and still end up with weak, disease-prone veggies. But Amish families, they water just twice a week, and their plants are healthier, more drought-resistant, and way more productive. Here's why it works. When you water daily, roots stay near the surface where they're vulnerable to heat and dry spells. But when you water deeply, just twice a week, something amazing happens. Roots grow down, chasing the moisture deep into the soil. That makes them stronger, more resilient, and way better at surviving tough weather. It's not about how much water you give, it's about how you give it. The Amish use gravity-fed irrigation systems that deliver water straight to the roots without wasting a drop. No fancy sprinklers, no noisy pumps, just simple setups using barrels or tanks elevated above the garden. The water flows naturally through hoses or channels right where the plants need it most. This method saves over 60% more water than regular sprinklers. And because the water goes straight to the ground, leaves stay dry, which cuts plant disease by 75%. Wet leaves are like a party invitation for fungus and bacteria. Dry leaves? Much less drama. They also water early in the morning, between 6 and 8 a.m. That gives plants all day to absorb the moisture and use it for growth. Watering in the evening leaves soil wet overnight, which encourages mold and pests. Morning watering is like giving your plants breakfast, fueling them up for a full day of work. And here's the smart part. They don't guess if the soil needs water. They check it. A quick finger test 2 inches below the surface tells them if it's still damp. If it is, they skip watering. Most people water based on schedules, not actual conditions. And that leads to waste, root rot, and unhappy plants. Amish farmers understand this simple truth. It's not about keeping the soil wet. It's about making sure the roots get what they need. Deep, consistent moisture that builds strong, thriving plants from the ground up. 7. Community power, strength in numbers. Most gardeners work alone, weeding, planting and harvesting by themselves. But the Amish? They've built a system where everyone wins together. It's not just about sharing tools or tips. It's about shared labour, shared success, and real relationships grown right alongside their vegetables. When one family plants, the whole community shows up. What would take a single person weeks to finish gets done in a single day when 10 people pitch in. They call it a planting day, but it's more like a celebration with dirt under your nails instead of confetti. Same thing happens at harvest time. With dozens of hands working together, they can pull hundreds of pounds of potatoes or pick an entire field of corn before lunch. It's not just about speed, it's about survival. When pests hit one garden, the whole group jumps in with natural solutions. One neighbour might know how to stop squash bugs, another has extra marigolds to plant, and someone else brings homemade garlic spray. Problems get solved fast, no chemicals needed. They also share seeds, tools, and even animals. A horse might belong to one family but help fertilise 5 gardens. That kind of cooperation makes farming cheaper and easier for everyone involved. No need to buy expensive equipment when you can borrow it from someone down the road. Canning days are another big event. Instead of spending weeks processing food alone, families gather for massive preservation parties. One kitchen becomes a production line. Peeling, chopping, boiling, sealing. In just a few hours, each family walks away with dozens of jars of tomatoes, beans, winter-long jams. Going beyond farming, friendship in action, knowledge flows freely. Groups learn from mistakes. Everyone enjoys every harvest. Amish grow food and community. This is forgotten by most modern gardeners. 8. Chemical-free pest control. Gardeners usually spray chemicals for bugs. Amish crops are thriving despite fighting bugs without insecticide. They employ novel methods to eliminate pests without harming good bugs, providing broccoli security and, the best part, unpaid guards. Example, marigolds. They go beyond beautiful flowers in odd settings. These little bloomers repel nematodes, aphids and whiteflies with their root chemicals. They repel tiny soil worms and invaders. Grow some around your crops for natural defence. Another element is pasture-style basil. Its strong smell confuses tomato hornworms when planted near tomatoes. Ready to eat, these caterpillars can't find the victim. Double win. Aroma enhances tomato taste. The Amish use trap crops as decoys. Entoriums serve squash and cucumber beetles. They swarm like ravenous pests, making it easier to eradicate the whole group before they spread. Trapping with a free buffet sign. Row coverings are clever. These lightweight textile tunnels keep flying pests away during plant growth's most crucial stages. Light and water pass, but not worry. When plants grow strong enough, the cover comes off like vegetable training wheels. Every healthy garden contains a secret army of beneficial insects. Natural pest control. Ladybirds, lacewings, parasitic wasps. Amish farmers keep them with nectar and shelter flower strips. Happy bugs reduce pests. They time insect releases for pest life cycles. As aphid populations rise, release ladybirds to prevent invasion. No sprays, no toxins. Just smart farming, not luck, strategy. Year after year, it works without chemicals, cost, or hurting helpful bugs. 9. Season extension methods. Most gardeners only grow food in perfect conditions. But Amish families, gardens last months, and they pick vegetables in winter. This is done without greenhouses or heating. It starts with chilly frames. These mini greenhouses are made from scrap wood and glass. Use what you have instead of buying. Low and tilted frame captures more sunlight. It traps daytime heat like a parking lot car. During cold nights, it warms plants. Cold frames prevent frost and start early crops. Radish, spinach and lettuce grow weeks before snow melt. A recyclable box and planning enough. Next, succession planting. We sow small amounts of seeds every 2 weeks. This prevents a harvest surplus you can't consume. Fresh veggies all season, no freezer. In late January, Amish gardeners start warm season vegetables indoors. Herbs, tomatoes, and peppers grow on sunny windowsills until it's safe to sow outside. These plants are ready to plant as the weather warms up, unlike store-bought seedlings. The final trick? Root cellars. Without power, these underground storage places keep vegetables cool and dry. A dark, stable environment keeps carrots, potatoes, and cabbage fresh for months. Working with nature without rejecting it is crucial. Simple equipment and precise timing allow Amish gardens to produce year-round. It's not magic. Anyone can try smart farming. 10. Why Amish soil improves annually. Most gardeners battle soil annually. It becomes tougher to work with, produces weaker plants, and requires more fertilizer. But Amish families, their earth grows deeper, darker, and more vibrant each season. That's odd. Modern farming logic forbids this. It's happening on real farms using simple methods everyone can copy. Shh! They never treat dirt. They view it as a living entity that improves with treatment. Chemical-free, no heavy gear, intelligent, reproducible fertility-boosting strategies. A big difference? They don't till every year. Most farmers tear up soil with tractors and ploughs, but billions of helpful microbes and worms die. Amish skip tilling. Let nature combine. A looser, deeper structure, with air holes that roots love, emerges over time. Plant off-season cover crops, for soil, not harvest. Deep-rooted clover, rye and vetch break up hard strata. Dying plants degrade into rich organic materials, feeding the next crop. Organic matter rises 2 to 3% year. It looks modest, but it adds up fast. Organic matter enhances plant health, water retention, and weed control. 1 acre of soil can hold 20,000 gallons more rainfall with organic life each season. Hot, clean, powerful compost feeds plants and microbes. This is no backslime. This meticulously made, temperature-controlled black gold improves soil for free. Do less if your garden frustrates you. Which Amish method will you try first? Comment and tell me. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss another innovative, simple way to grow your own food.